Weddings, they bring people together. And in the case of Jacob, Edward, and Bella, they could tear them apart! Why are you yelling? The Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn Part 1, yes, they decided to take the mega popular Stephenie Meyer franchise and split the final book into 2 movies, cause money. And you know what? They were smart to do so, because between Part 1 and Part 2, $1.5 billion worldwide, so you can't sneeze at that. Well, you can if you're allergic to facts and figures, which would be strange. You probably should consult a doctor, perhaps a doctor in Switzerland, like the Cullens we're going to go visit, because, man, this movie's all over the goddamn place, but also was centralized in the sense at least things got back mostly on track. I fully admit, like I have in my previous reviews of this rewatch, that I obviously never read the fucking books. Why the hell would I? Are you out of your goddamn mind? But I find the movies at least mildly entertaining. The first one was balls to the wall silly and not perfect, but definitely crazy in the sense that they just really thought they were making some cinema. At least they found an entertaining sweet spot. New Moon was alright. Eclipse was arguably the worst of the franchise because if you think about it, from the start of Twilight to the end of Eclipse, Bella really doesn't advance that far in school. I mean, everything moves really... You would think everything would move really, really quickly with this whirlwind vampire romance with Jacob werewolf on the side. But no, we don't get that. We just got a slow burn story. But now, things picking up. Bella and Edward are going to get married. And they're going to end up having a kid. And basically the movie ends with Bella waking back up after suffering the pains of childbirth. Giving birth to a vampiric human baby would definitely do that, I assume. So this was directed by Billy Condon, that I certainly did not pronounce as Condom. How dare you say that? I would never rib somebody like that. Har har. He did Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh, Gods and Monsters, as well as Dreamgirls, Breaking Dawn Part 2, and the 2017 live-action adaptation of Beauty and the Beast. That is definitely all over the place. He's done other projects. And Melissa Rosenberg, once again, adapting the dialogue that Stephenie Meyer shat out, basically. Let's be perfectly honest. Stephenie Meyer made a boatload of money off of these books and off of the rights and everything, but good goddamn Christ, she's not a good writer, is she? She's just not. So, yes, Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, Taylor Lautner, Ashley Greene, and various others returning for the continuation of this story. So it had a $110 million budget, which was significant. I think that was $20 million more than the combined budgets of the first 2 movies. And it had a $138 million opening, $281.2 million US Canada gross, and $712.2 million worldwide. Was that English? Probably not. But the whole thing is this movie really was successful. And I actually did end up seeing Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2 in theaters. I wasn't able to get the theatrical experience, at least a full theatrical experience. I did end up I watched both of those opening weekend. Twilight, I did see, towards the tail end of its theatrical run. New Moon a little bit sooner. Eclipse, I think, the second week. So I just wasn't that interested. But then I was like, I'm invested. Let me watch Breaking Dawn Part 1. This was in 2011, by the way. That was near the end of what would become a tumultuous time in my life that I would talk about in this review, but suffice to say, certain things were going on in my life, certain personal things, and what I thought was a solid friendship would dissolve because of things that just didn't end up working out. That much I will say right there. So yeah, 2011 to 2012. By 2013, I was a whole lot better. Nevertheless, Jacob isn't taking the idea of the wedding very well, but we go right to the wedding invitations. Mustache Dad is a little bit upset. Shout out to the Riff Tracks people. Edward talks about the fact that he went rogue after Carlisle had turned him just to see what it was like. He killed bad people, but they were all human. I imagine trying to do the fashions and period piece stuff like that probably cost the movie a fortune. And also the fact that everybody was probably getting paid a little bit more. They certainly didn't spend it on the CGI of Renesmee. Oh boy, did they not ever. Ho, ho, ho. That was one of those choices. And will the wedding become a dream or a nightmare? I did kind of like how the mustache dad and the mother came together to present Grandma Swan's hair clipped with sapphires, not to be confused with the valet for Dusty Rhodes in WWE or WWF at the time. There is nobody outside of my age group that will fucking get that. And he walks her down the aisle. So I forgot how much of this movie is pretty much just like the wedding and the honeymoon. Like, I forgot just how much of it is like stretched the fuck out. Now, admittedly, you do get a little bit more of a chance to sink your teeth into the characters, ironically. And quite a bit of it takes place in, I believe, Portugal. Something like that. Portugal, Brazil. Not totally certain, considering they have a Brazilian flag there. Maybe it's like a Germany-Argentina situation. Nevertheless, let's not talk about that. Awkward speeches. Anna Kendrick gets up there looking as only she can look. And the Cullens vow to protect Bella. Basically, Jacob sees her, doesn't want her to get pregnant while she's human because having a vampire spawn could end up killing her. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't know that? I knew that. Did you not know that? I mean, I hear it all the time at the doctor's office. So, they see her off. They have the honeymoon. Things get a bit rough. She starts getting marks. Some like it rough, some like it hot. And Jacob meanwhile is talking to his family, or his extended family, pack, whatever, clan, that kind of stuff, on the beach. And Jacob needs to imprint on someone. Remember that. Remember that as we get to this shit. And Bella, meanwhile, realizes that she's late, so she got pregnant. And then Edward realizes, well, shit, I need to pack. So he uses his vampire speed ability to pack up all this stuff. And everything's going very, very smoothly. And begs the Portuguese hotel owner, wife, person to basically, I forgot her name, it's not really important for the purposes of this equation, to help her. Death is coming, lol. And Jacob and the family, they're not exactly, well, Jacob in particular is not happy. Sam, of course, made the pants too long, and, like, Bella's family, Mustache Dad, and the Cullens are, like, worried about her, but they know she'll be okay. You look terrible, Jacob says to Bella, and he's upset. How dare you have her, have this kid as a human? Which apparently she wanted to do, which sounds really fucking stupid in hindsight. But then again, why would I want to apply logic to something that is about sparkly vampires, werewolves, and Stephanie Meyer putting herself in Bella Swan's shoes? Because Stephanie might be into some sort of beastie. Let's just not refer to that there, but just a little bit weird. It's fine. And she wants to have the baby. Jacob's very upset by this. Montage of clips with the wolves. The problem is this started the trend of making things so dark you didn't know what the hell was going on. Like, seriously, it was actually a little frightening just how dark this movie was. But the wolves have their own internal monologues, or internal-external monologues, which is kind of hilarious to me. I won't be following you or anyone. I'm this guy, Jake. He's part of some clan. It's just it's cinema. It's goddamn cinema, because this gets the cheesy factor of it once it starts going. And Seth, one of the younger wolves, decides not to burn it down. Whoa. Again, only wrestling fans will understand that. They're going to warn the Cullens, they're going to protect them, and Sam, of course, is snapped. Leah joins Jacob, basically because she's tired of Sam not only making the pants too long. I can't help but reference that, just because of MST, and also, I'm weird. And, yeah, the soundtrack doesn't really fit, necessarily. I've noticed that about some of the songs, but it's licensed music, and it's fine. It's cheesy at times. Bella is not doing all that well. They decide to have her drink blood, and that kind of quells the appetite, because she's changing, but she's not fully changing. They keep thinking the baby is a boy. The baby's not a boy, by the way. The baby is a girl. A bad CGI girl, but nevertheless. So, the dad is upset. Edward can hear the fetus, but he's also not happy about the fact that the baby, upcoming baby, and this is very accelerated because it's a vampiric child, is going to kill Bella. Jacob says to the clan, don't worry, I will destroy the child. Oh, wait, it's a distraction, a ruse, a bamboozle, a flim-flam. And there we are. So we basically get more wolf attacks, at least I think. Again, so dark, I couldn't see what was going on. And as I was saying, this started the trend of having scenes in horror movies or horror-adjacent, horror action scenes that were so dark, you couldn't see what was going on. And to me, it's lazy. And I thought maybe it was just my eyes, but no, a vast majority of people said the same damn thing. So maybe we're all just having bad eyes. Maybe soon it will just be a sightless world. And again, given some of the stuff going on in this world, well, nevertheless, let's talk about that later. So, what are we going to name the child? Well, how about E.J. for Edward Jacob if it's a boy? Or Renee and Esme, Renesmee. That is a stupid name. That is a really stupid name. Stephanie Meyer, I think, was drinking when she did this. So, Bella then suddenly is going to give birth. The idea, cut the stomach open and get the kid out. Do an emergency C-section. Well, then seeing the blood, Rosalie starts to freak out, wanting to suck Bella off. Never mind, moving on from that. She freaks out. Then Edward gets the baby and is going to turn her. And Rosalie finally calms down from wanting to suck Kristen Stewart off and takes the baby. And now, well, yeah, Edward basically has a giant syringe that's about 20 feet long with his venom in it, and venomizes her, just sticks her right in her. This is not what this looks like, but nevertheless. And now it's working, but she basically died during childbirth. So, of course, when you want to bring a woman back after dying during childbirth, you put vampiric venom in them. How do you not know this, people? He's like, you're not dead, you're not dead. You know, Benoit said the same thing with Nancy and Daniel, and I'm just going to leave that one alone right there. So, yeah, she comes back eventually, kinda. But then the wolves go to war with the vampires, briefly, so briefly, very weakly also because of the darkness. Jacob... This is so bad. He walks up. Rosalie's got the kid. The CGI for this kid, awful. That's $110 million budget, and that's the best you could goddamn do. I know motion capture, that kind of stuff. I know that it was in its infancy, ironically, given the terminology, but he imprinted on that goddamn kid and could see her life and everything. See Mackenzie Foy growing up and stuff like that. Mackenzie Foy, by the way, is the one that would play the older Renesmee in the following entry. And, yeah, imprints on an infant. There is nothing absolutely gross about that besides everything. But it's fine. Then Jacob basically stands up for it and, well, you can't kill someone that the wolf is imprinted on, I guess. And then Bella opens her eyes, and she's a vampire now. Oh, and the Volturi are upset, in particular, Arrow Fighter, because... Bianca did not spell. You can't expect dirty blondes to spell. You can't expect them to spell right. I speak from experience. Now that all the dirty blondes in the comments are going to get upset, yeah, I will say that it is silly, it is ridiculous. I will say it gets a B, even though it is nuts. And it's not a particularly great narrative, or even a halfway decent narrative, but it's entertaining. And now breaking down part 2, which I have a story about that. Longtime viewers may know it, but I'm going to go into more detail when I review that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritland. I'll see you soon.